Good morning and welcome to this edition of Living Like You Mean It. I'm Ray Grider, and we're here this morning at the site of a labyrinth. I thought it'd be important to be at this site this morning. I asked you last time to think about the word discipleship as we start this journey regarding the spiritual stones, or what I feel are the 5 spiritual stones of living like you mean it. We're here this morning on the campus of Union Presbyterian Seminary in Richmond, Virginia, and we're at the site of the labyrinth that's here on this campus. And if you're not familiar with a labyrinth is a very spiritual piece of construction that is meant to generate meditation and reflection by walking through the circles that have been constructed. I think the first ones, according to the charts behind me here, talk about them being at the Chartres Cathedral in France in 1220. But they are very spiritually a moving place where people can reflect and be in meditation with the Creator. Incidentally, another reason why I wanted to come to this labyrinth this morning is I just, in the summer of 2012, along with 200 plus other men from the Christian Church Disciples of Christ through the General Conference of Disciples Men, constructed a labyrinth on the site of the Alexander Campbell mansion at Bethany College in Bethany, West Virginia. And the official dedication for that labyrinth is going to be on September the 21st, 2013, which I hope and plan to attend, and we'll post that information and that dedication and celebration here on Living Like You Mean It. But this morning I'd like to show you the labyrinth and let you see it. And think about discipleship. And I went through social media, as most people do, and asked the rhetorical question. Some people like the fact that we do that, and some people get kind of annoyed sometimes maybe that we use that as something to gain information. But I think it's a wonderful tool to get people's opinions and ideas regarding certain things. And I asked the question about discipleship and what it means to you, and got a lot of good answers, and people said that they thought about being on a journey. And when you come to a labyrinth, it is about being on a journey. As you twist and turn and go around through the labyrinth during a time of spiritual meditation, it's a wonderful thing. And so, for me, the labyrinth is a journey, and discipleship is a journey. And I think the most intriguing, most interesting and dedicated example of discipleship is that of the 2 places that I pulled out of the Bible. My thoughts on Luke in the 5th chapter, where he talks about the disciples being called, and also when Matthew is called, and that's can be found in I believe that was in, well, you can find it in several of the Gospels. But those instances are just profound in the fact that in both cases where Matthew or Levi Levi the tax collector, as he's known or pointed out in some instances, they drop everything. Jesus calls them and they drop everything there at that instant to follow him. And I wonder how many of us would do that in this day and age. If somebody came along and said the things like Jesus said during his time, how many of us would even contemplate or consider giving up everything to go on that journey of discipleship? I dare say there'd be very, very few of us. Giving up everything in your life, your work, your job, your family, everything. Dropping your nets, dropping your job at the tax collecting table, and going on to follow behind this man, this radical man who's bringing forth so many ideas of peace and love and spirituality, living like he means it. It would be a very, very, very difficult thing, and I'm sure it was extremely difficult for those that did drop everything and go then. But thanks be to God that they did. And so I hope you will think more about discipleship and think about how you would react if you were asked, if you had been one of the 12 to be asked to drop everything. How would you have responded? I hope you have a wonderful week, and I ask you to, next week we'll be back, and I ask you during that time to think of our two scriptures, the scriptures from Ephesians and the scripture from Micah again, as we go on this walk and walk humbly with our God, this journey. I ask you to think about the next stone of fellowship and what it means to you. Have a great week as you live your life like you mean it.